Webworms can be a real nuisance to see in your trees and a pain to remove, but are they a threat? Taft Price talks with our garden expert Paul James about what webworms are for 2 Works for You in the Garden.
Good morning, welcome back to In the Garden. And you know what, Paul? We're looking at nut trees here. I have one of these in my yard, nice pecan. They're beautiful. I love them in the spring and in the summer, but then you get this unsightly web that seems to develop. What are we talking about when we see these things?
These are fall webworms.
Okay.
And they appear both in the spring and the fall because in this part of the world, we get 2 generations per year. If you go north of, say, St. Louis, it's only 1 generation per year, and it is in the fall.
Aren't we fortunate?
Aren't we? Now, it's a little white moth,
okay,
and she flitters about and lays her eggs in the trees. So there's really no preventive steps that you can take to control them. Also, once they start to develop that nest, they're very well protected. So your control options are limited as well.
Okay. So before we see this, is there any signs that we can look at, or do we just look out one day and see a web and go, oh, we've got worms? Is there anything we can see before that?
You really don't see it beforehand. That's the sad part about it. And again, you can't prevent that. So, and you don't really see that moth, you don't pay much attention to it. So you don't realize that she's up there laying hundreds and thousands of eggs.
Oh boy.
It's a clever beast in the sense that they create this web, this nest, and they are protected from predators, from chemical controls and all that. And they're feeding inside that nest, so they're defoliating the tree. Now, it's very common on, like you said, nut trees, pecan, hickory, they love sweet gum. A lot of trees can be attacked.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, even though I gotta tell you, we get, this time of year, we get dozens and dozens of calls every day. Yes, they're unsightly, they're downright ugly, but we don't recommend any controls. What a lot of people do, and this is not something I recommend, is they will, put a rag on the end of a stick and put some gasoline on it and burn them out. Well, okay, but you also run the risk of destroying the tree and maybe burning down your house as well. Opening the nest with a big stick, okay, you could do that, and birds will sometimes come in and feed. You're not going to achieve much control. Chemical controls are essentially out of the question, especially because a tree like this, that's going to take a highly pressurized sprayer to get anything up in there.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, our recommendation is do absolutely nothing.
Okay. One thing I like about them, we talk about how unsightly they are in the tree, but the one thing I like about them is they eat the leaves. So whenever fall gets here and all the leaves fall, I have less leaves to rake. Is that kind of sick of me to think like that?
You need your own show called The Lazy Gardener.
I just sat back and watch them eat the leaves. Keep on going, boys.
Yeah, so you'll see them. They'll come on in spring, and then again in fall. It's somewhat cyclical in that some years it's really bad, other years not so bad at all. In fact, some years you hardly ever see them out. This year, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, this year's kind of a 5. They've certainly been a lot worse.
Yeah. Last couple of years, and does weather have anything to do with that? Any temperatures or rain or anything?
Not so much. They do it twice a year. They're going to do this, and nothing you can do about it.
And when do they usually fade away? Whenever we get that first freeze?
Once you see that nest develop, they're in there for about 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
And then when the last instar, just before they actually leave the nest, after about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, they'll leave the nest, they'll form a cocoon, and they'll overwinter in the fissures in the bark of the tree or in leaf litter below. So good sanitation will help a little bit, not much, raking up the leaves and getting rid of them. Just enjoy them.
Well, that's the one thing that I love about these kind of segments right here. Whenever we talk about an issue, and the only way to take care of them is to do absolutely nothing.
Nothing whatsoever, nada.
So sit back, have a nice cool beverage of your choice.
Yes.
And sit and watch the webworms take out your nut trees.
That's it.
That's easy. Easy as can be.
I love doing segments where I basically tell you absolutely nothing.
I think we can all do that.